Hello lovely people, welcome to another collections video. Today's a big one. I'm going to be looking through my entire physical media collection, including DVDs, Blu Rays and the odd 4K disc as well. I tend to find these sorts of videos quite relaxing and I hope you do too. So sit back, relax and enjoy looking through my collection. And we start off with my box set collection of DVDs and Blu Rays. I don't have a huge collection, but these are the ones that I like to keep. Starting off with the Alien Anthology. The first 4 films. I think there's only one Alien film I've not seen, which is Covenant. Let me know what you think of it. But yeah, 4 classic films there. Well, 2 and 2 rather good ones. Then we have the Beatles Anthology. I watched this series in the 90s, absolutely loved it, so I had to get it on DVD. Another series I loved as a kid, the Blackadder Complete Collection. And then the James Bond collection on DVD. I'd like to eventually get all of these on Blu-ray or 4K. It's one of my favourite film series. The first of my wife's collection, the Agatha Christie Hour. She's a huge Agatha Christie fan. And I'm a huge Hitchcock fan and have 2 box sets of his. This is a DVD of his earlier films. Working my way through those, haven't watched them all yet. And his classic masterpiece collection on Blu-ray. It's one of those Blu-ray box sets that I feel like every film fan should have, including Shadow of a Doubt, Rope, Rear Window, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Vertigo. Yeah, so many classic films. And the Stanley Kubrick collection as well, the Visionary Filmmaker collection. I've made a separate video on this, but there's Lolita 2001, Clockwork Orange, Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Barry Lyndon. Yeah, it's absolutely definitely necessary. As a DVD of one of the school shows that my stepdaughter made, and then the Lord of the Rings Blu-ray box set. I think this is the first Blu-ray box set I ever got, actually, or even the first Blu-ray I ever got. That's the extended versions. Classic fantasy. David Lynch box set, including Blue Velvet, Dune, Eraserhead, Lost Highway, Fire Walk with Me, and Blue Velvet. Did I say Blue Velvet? Wild at Heart. Yeah, one of my all-time favourite directors. I've got this on Blu-ray. On DVD. I'd quite like to get it on Blu-ray at some point. Carrying on my wife's love of Agatha Christie, we have the Miss Marple collection, the Joan Hickson ones, and the later ITV ones there with Julia Mackenzie and Geraldine McEwen. Definitely comfort TV, the Marple and the Poirots. I'm a huge Monty Python's Flying Circus fan and love this box set, which has the full series and some great documentaries on there as well. And then moving down, these were, I am still a huge Jim Henson fan, and these were found on American Amazon. I think they're the only ones I've ever imported over from America, because I had to have these special editions with the furry covers. So that is season 1 with the Kermit cover, and then we have season 2 with Miss Piggy. And season 3 with the Fozzie Fuzzy cover. I don't know if they ever made the 4th and 5th series. You can get those now on Disney Plus, but I'd love to complete the set if I can. There's the later Poirot collection. I did buy my wife a great Poirot box set that's not here. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Still need to get that out of the shrink wrap. Got that on Blu-ray. Love that film. This is one of a very cheesy soap opera that my wife used to watch that I made her for a birthday present one year. The Sunset Beach episodes 1 to 12. Wonderful DIY cover there. And then the Star Wars Complete Saga on Blu-ray, another one of those box sets that you just have to have, I think, as a film collector. It's got the first the first three films and the prequels on there. Hasn't got the sequels. I've got most of them now. One of my favourite trilogies, the Three Colours trilogy, just visual poetry, absolutely beautiful. Great storytelling, and the visuals are just stunning, so I had to have that on Blu-ray. Talking of stunning visuals, we have David Lynch's Twin Peaks series, and I've got it on DVD and on Blu-ray. I'm a bit of a fanatic about Twin Peaks and David Lynch's films in general. So here's the definitive gold box edition. I wasn't sure whether to get rid of this, but I do think there are a couple of extras on here that aren't on the Blu-ray. I'm not entirely sure. And then the limited series event, the series 3, if you like, of Twin Peaks that came out in the last few years. Definitely worth watching. And then the entire mystery on Blu-ray, which has the film Fire Walk With Me, the first 2 series, and 90 minutes of deleted and alternative scenes called The Missing Pieces. Then we have another of my wife's collection, the Victorian Kitchen and Garden. Love those. Great 80s. And then UMD collection, a small collection. I've got Akira, Dark Crystal, Family Guy. These are all for the PSP, by the way. Heavy Metal, Busta Rhymes, UMD, musical UMD there as well. So there we are. That's my box set collection. I won't take you through my Doctor Who collection. I think that's there's enough in there to definitely warrant a separate video for you Doctor Who fans, so I'll go through that. But yeah, I love that TARDIS DVD bookcase. And then let's just take a moment to mourn all the boxes that I had to get rid of to make space, so I hope this doesn't offend you too much. But here are all the discs without their covers that I have of my films. So turn away now if you don't like that kind of thing. So we start with my all-time favourite Airplane. The Aliens and Alien, I think, are in there, yeah. On DVD. Airplane being my favourite comedy. Then we're into Woody Allen on foot. It's difficult to like Woody Allen with his recent behaviour, but I do still love his films. It's that thing about, you know, the art and the artist, but I do still love his films in spite of all. Then we have Amadeus, great Oscar winning 80s film. Amélie, superb French film. And then into the American Horror Story. I did have the box sets of this, but they were taking up so much room that I had to put them all into this case. So we have the I think up to the 5th season, I think. So that's Asylum, 2nd season. Coven. And then I think my favourite season so far is probably Freak Show. I think we watched it up until the Armageddon one and went a bit off it after that, but I'm sure it's still just as good as The Hotel. Finishing off, 5th season. That's the ones I've got so far. Anchorman, great comedy starring Will Ferrell. The Apartment was a hugely underrated film. It actually won the Oscar at the time, so it wasn't underrated at the time, but it has been since. Arthur Christmas, great Christmas film. Then we're into the Attenborough documentaries, Life on Earth from the 1970s. I love David Attenborough documentaries. So yeah, this was his 1970s one. And then Life in the Undergrowth, one of my favourites. And then my only 4K DVD as at the time of filming. This is Planet Earth 2. I thought it was worth getting one of his to show off what the 4K disc could do, because it's so well done. Then the Batman collection, we've got the original Batman from the 60s, Batman from 1989, Batman Returns, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, less said about that the better. And then the Nolan trilogy. I've yet to actually see the new Batman. Really want to see that. Very bad of me not to have seen that. Then Beautiful Mind, I love that film. Big Lebowski, one of my favourite comedies. A Billy Connolly documentary. And then I think I've got 2 different versions of Blade Runner, The Blob. Bottom, great English sitcom starring Ed Edmondson. Brain Dead, Peter Jackson film that you have to watch if you're into sort of comedy horror. It's really over the top and wonderful. And yeah, I have put Bad Taste on there. Homemade version. When I do find it on DVD, though, I will be buying it. Then we have one of the best satirical series of the last 30 odd years, Brass Eye. My all-time favourite film, Brief Encounter. If we're talking, visual poetry, it's not Bruno. It's Brief Encounter. Very dodgy film, Caligula. Then Cambridge Spies, hugely underrated BBC drama about the Cambridge Spies, fantastic. Casablanca, one of my favourites, really need to get that on 4K. And then the Chronicles of Narnia. I don't know what happened to the Witch, the Wizard and the Wardrobe, or whatever it's called. Control, great film. Shaun of the Dead, we're into the, if you're wondering why it's here, it's the Cornetto trilogy, that's why it's under C. We've got Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. Creature of the Black Lagoon, and Crouching Tiger, another one of those demo type discs that I'd love to see what the 4K would make of, because it's beautifully shot. The cinematography is breathtaking on that film. Then we have the Dallas collection. This is my wife's collection, but she has converted me. I'm a huge fan of the original Dallas. So I think we've got the first 3 seasons. Dancer in the Dark, Bjork's only acting role, which was superb. Oh no, she's done a bit more, hasn't she? The Dark Crystal, had to get that on Blu-ray, one of my all-time favourite films. Day the Earth Stood Still, waiting for that to arrive on Blu-ray. The Deer Hunter, classic film, but very difficult to watch at times. Die Hard, don't know why I've got that on Blu-ray. Drag Me to Hell, fantastic comedy horror. Dumb and Dumber, another one of my favourites from the 90s. Elf, every collection needs. The Exorcist, I'd like to get that on 4K. I think that's just come out on 4K. Very expensive though. Fantastic Voyage. Inner Space was based on that, if you've seen that. Then the Father Ted collection. Again, difficult to like anything by Graham Linehan after his recent behaviour, but I do love it. The Fly. That's the original. And I need to get the more modern version. I say modern. The Flight of Dragons is a film that I loved as a kid, but no one else has heard of. So let me know in the comments if you know about it. Forbidden Planet, Forrest Gump, 1408, really Hitchcockian suspense film. Freaks, I've actually got 2 copies of that. I don't know why, but it's a superb film. Then the Futurama set, I think I've got up to season 4 or 5, I think. Huge fan of Futurama, almost as much as The Simpsons, in fact. Not quite, because The Simpsons is The Simpsons. It's amazing, but I do have most of the Futuramas. Don't know where Ghostbusters has gone, but there's Ghostbusters 2. Ghost Watch, check that out on YouTube if you get a chance. It's a brilliant spoof documentary that fooled everybody at the time. Gladiator, another I need to get on 4K. The Godfather collection, another I need to get on 4K for sure. And another one I need to get on 4K, Goodfellas, one of Scorsese's very best. Absolutely love that film. Such a good film. And it's a double-sided DVD, which is very strange. I've only ever had another one like that, which has gone with the wind. Gremlins, Groundhog Day. And then we're into the H's. I've got a really good Hammer box set here, British horror, iconic horror studio. And yeah, there's some really good Hammer films within this collection. That's a really good one, actually. Rasputin. Reptile's okay. It's a bit B-movie. The Witches, not the Roald Dahl one, but it is a good film. 1 Million Years BC, not brilliant. It's okay. Viking Queen is pretty dull. Frankenstein Created Woman, I can't actually remember that one. Quatermass in the Pit, absolute classic. Straight on Till Morning, I still need to watch. Devil Rides Out, wonderful. Prehistoric Woman, Scars of Dracula, and The Horror of Frankenstein, starring Darth Vader himself then. Blood from the Money's Tomb, getting into the later stuff here. Fear in the Night, still need to watch that one. Heard good things. Demons of the Mind, and To the Devil a Daughter, starring, as so many of them do, Christopher Lee there. Harvey, wonderful, uplifting, life-affirming film, as is High Fidelity, actually, great musical film. Hitchcock, as well as box set, I've got Rebecca, Strangers on a Train, big Hitchcock fan. Spellbound, North by Northwest, the best James Bond film that was never made. And then I've got Notorious, The 39 Steps, and Rope off telly. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the BBC show. Home Alone and Home Alone 2, essential watching at Christmas. And then into we've got The Incredible Shrinking Man, brilliant 1950s B movie, as well as The Indestructible Man. Another set I need to get on Blu-ray or 4K is the Indiana Jones. I've got the first 3 films. That's where it stopped, isn't it? Right. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. Stephen King's It, the TV version with Tim Curry. Love that. It Came from Outer Space. And into K, we have some of my favourite Peter Kay series, including Phoenix Nights, Max and Paddy's, Road to Nowhere, and Car Share. To Kill a Mockingbird, still waiting on the Blu-ray to come from that in the post. Kindergarten Cop, the original King Kong. And then until they release this on DVD, Blu-ray, I have televised versions of one of my favourite series as a kid, Nightmare. I've got the first 3 series of that on recorded off the telly. Kramer versus Kramer, very emotional film. Then we're into some Kubrick's. We have The Shining there, and Labyrinth, one of my all-time favourite films. I had to get it on Blu-ray. LA Story, the first film I actually got on DVD, can you believe? The Last Unicorn, a bit like Flight of the Dragons, that one. League of Gentlemen collection, huge League of Gentlemen fan. So you've got all the series and the anniversary specials and a live disc there as well. Let the Right One In, one of my favourite recent horror films. I say recent, it's probably about 2001. The Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes series. Loved this when it was on telly. Often watch this back. Excellent series. And then Lost Boys. Had to get that on Blu-ray. It's one of our favourite films. Love Actually, which I seem to like less and less the more I watch it. Loving Vincent, fantastic film you need to check out. Joe Lycett Live. The Elephant Man, that should be with the David Lynch, isn't it? And the Elephant Man documentary. Oh, it is in the David Lynch, that's right. Blue Velvet, the DVD version. Mulholland Drive. And The Straight Story. A really underrated David Lynch, that one. Then we have The Man Who Fell to Earth. I think that's an American import, actually. I don't think it works on my... Mary and Max. Surprisingly effective, emotional film, that one, for an animation. Matter of Life and Death, which I love. The Heroes of Telemark I've still to watch, actually. That was off a paper. Metropolis, one of my favourite early films. Miracle on 34th Street, the original. And then we have the Monty Python films, now for something completely different. Holy Grail, Life of Brian, and on the other side should be, The Meaning of Life. Need to get those on Blu-ray or 4K. And then we have the documentaries set over 2 or 3 discs. And then into the Jim Henson stuff, we have the Muppets Magic, early Jim Henson, then the Muppet Movie, Muppet Caper. My favourite, Muppets from Manhattan, which again has gone missing. There seems to be a bit of a theme emerging here. Muppet Family Christmas and the Christmas Toy. Check that out if you get a chance. Very similar to Toy Story, actually, but before Toy Story came out. The Muppet Christmas Carol, which everyone has to watch at Christmas. Muppet Treasure Island, another brilliant Muppet film. And then The Muppets from Space, as well as the newer Muppets. I need to get Muppets Most Wanted, I think, so I've left a space for that one. Nativity. It's a good, fun family Christmas film. Nightmare Before Christmas. 1984, the BBC version. I do actually have the version that I bought of that, but I've lent it to someone, so that's the off-telly version. Nosferatu, The Odd Couple, really funny film. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, one of Jack Nicholson's best. One Trick Pony by Paul Simon, not been released in this country yet, but I'm hoping it will be. Pan's Labyrinth, superb fantasy film. Parenthood, underrated Steve Martin comedy. Persona, a bit of Bergman. I'd like to get some more of Bergman's, actually. Peter's Friends, another underrated 90s drama comedy with Stephen Fry. Plan 9 from Outer Space, often referred to as the worst film ever made. I don't agree. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Police Squad, complete series. Used to love that as a kid, which Naked Gun was created from. Then we have the Psychoville collection, series 1 and 2. And I think it's got all the specials on there as well. Rain Man. Ray. Excellent biopic of Ray Charles. Then we have the Red Dwarf collection. 1 through 8, or no, it's more than that actually, isn't it? It's like 12 or something now. I think the only one I've not watched is the last series, and I really need to check that out. And I need to get the special that they did. Requiem for a Dream, very depressing but brilliant film about addiction. Road Sense, one that my dad presented back in the day. Robin Hood, probably my favourite Disney film. Rocky Horror Picture Show. The DVD version, I need to put the Blu Ray version in there. Roxanne, another great Steve Martin. Seven Samurai, Kurosawa's classic film that The Magnificent Seven was based on. Another Bergman, The Seventh Seal, need to rewatch that one. Then the 7-Up documentary series, which followed kids from the 1960s to now. Really worth watching for cultural development. There's The Snowman, Silence of the Lambs, Some Like It Hot. Some of my all-time favourite films are going on here. Spaceballs, the DVD. Spaced, Edgar Wright's first series with Simon Pegg. Spartacus. Spinal Tap, the up to 11 edition, which has 3 discs. Here's Spinal Tap Continued, then Spirited Away, Stand By Me. Then the Star Trek films, motion picture, Wrath of Khan has got to be the best, hasn't it? Search for Spock I actually really like. Voyage Home is just hilarious. Great comfort movie, that one. Final Frontier, Undiscovered Country. Star Trek Generations, First Contact, the best of the Next Generation ones. Insurrection, Nemesis, which I prefer more than most Trekker fans. Captain Summit, and Evolutions. And then we have the first series of Discovery, which I still need to finish off. Rogue One. So we're into the Star Wars films now. Solo. Really liked Rogue One. Could have taken or left. Then these are Star Wars original editions. I kept the bonus discs because they've got... Then we've got the Force Awakens, and I've left a bit of space for the other two as well. Jim Henson's Storyteller and his Greek Myths Storyteller, fantastic. Michael Gambon. Sunset Boulevard. I'm ready for my close-up. And then we're into the second of the cases now. Starting with a great B-movie, Tarantula. Team America, one of my favourite spoof movies. The Terminator and Terminator 2, got both of those on Blu-ray. I've heard bad things about them, but I thought they were really good, the Blu-ray versions. Them, They Shall Not Grow Old, definitely worth watching. World War One documentary made by Peter Jackson. The Thing from Another World and The Thing by John Carpenter. Then Think and Get Slim, it's not working for me. The Third Man. This Island Earth, brilliant science fiction movie. Then another one of my favourite series from the 90s, This Life, which I have every episode of. Threads, the scariest film I think I've ever seen in my life, seriously. Then I have Three Colours trilogy on DVD. Then the first series of Thundercats. I need to get more of these. Loved Thundercats as a kid. Time Bandits, one of my favourites of his films. Total Recall, my favourite of his films. Tron and Tron Legacy. think they're bringing out a new one soon, are they? 24-Hour Party People. Filmed in a lot of my old haunts, that is, actually. 28 Days Later, and there should be 28 Weeks Later as well, yeah. I think they're working on a new one of those as well. Is it 28 Months Later? Then we have another Blu-ray version of 2001, and the not as bad as you'd expect follow-up, 2010. It's not brilliant, but it's okay. Then we have the Universal Monsters Collection with Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, Wolfman, Invisible Man. These are all wonderful, and you need to get these, definitely. Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy, La Vie en Rose, wonderful biopic. Another one of my favourite biopics about Edith Piaf. Knew nothing about her to begin with, but you don't need to. It's a great film. Wallace and Gromit Collection. I have two of those for some reason. The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and one of Brando's best, On the Waterfront. My favourite musical of all time, West Side Story. Very funny Bill Murray film, What About Bob? Great Christmas film, White Christmas. And the awesome folk horror Wicker Man. And we have Willy Wonka and the Charlie Factory. The Blu-ray of Wizard of Oz, one of my favourites. Return to Oz, terrifying, especially to a young kid. It's a Wonderful Life, had to get that on Blu-ray. And then we have some of my wife's Victoria Wood collection. She loves Victoria Wood, so I had to get these for her, including the wonderful Acorn Antiques and As Seen on TV. Then we have the X-Men collection. Don't have all of them, but I have X-Men 1, 2 and 3. Is that it? I thought I had more than that. And then, we have some yoga ones. Young Frankenstein. Probably my favourite Mel Brooks film. The Young Ones. Great anarchic comedy from the 1980s. Oh dear, what's going on here? That's where I put Futurama. I've totally messed this up, haven't I? Oh well, that's the last two discs of Futurama. For some reason, in the Y selection, I must have folded that over by accident. Wonderful David Fincher film, Zodiac. Definitely worth watching. One of the best probably the best crime horror since Silence of the Lambs. Then a couple of the Beatles films, Layla Submarine and Hard Day's Night. I've left some space there because I'd like to get all of them. 8 Days a Week. We're into the musical collection here. That's why it's suddenly gone wildly out of alphabetical. I put them at the end. We've got Scorsese's George Harrison documentary, Billy Bragg, the videos. Couple of Bjork live and greatest hits. Bowie with his last Ziggy Stardust and his VH1 Storytellers gig, and then the best of Bowie discs 1 and 2 there. Then we have Elvis Costello, Foo Fighters, probably my favourite Foo Fighters thing they've ever actually done, the Skin and Bones. Then we have Burt Jansch. I was at that gig actually in Sheffield Hall. Later with Jules Holland, Nirvana Unplugged, and the montage of Heck. And then the Old Grey Whistle Test. I always bring these out when I've had a few too many to drink because they are wonderful. Then a few Queen live DVDs. We have the Milton Keynes, Wembley Stadium, and then the greatest hits, video hits 1 and 2. Then my all-time favourite, Paul Simon, live from Philadelphia. And then I do believe that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Apologies for the lack of voice. I've been suffering these last 2 weeks, but starting to get my voice back now, which is good to know. So I thought I'd give this a go, and I hope you enjoyed looking through my little DVD and Blu-ray collection there. As always, like, subscribe, and I'll see you again on the next one. Take care.